Alright guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to give you 3 tips to practicing. I'm out here today and I'm actually practicing for an upcoming tournament. And so there are really 3 things that you can do to make the most out of practice. Number 1 is use your graphs. We'll talk about that here in just a moment. Number 2 is do not win practice. And I have a couple things that you can do to not win practice. And number 3 is cover water. And the reason that you try to cover water is because you're trying to eliminate unproductive water. So I'm fixing to leave here, and I fished an entire creek and I had 1 blow up. So I've pretty much eliminated this entire creek. The fish that I caught today, I found one was just I pulled into an area, found a little itty bitty creek flowing into the lake, pitched in there and caught one. The other one is I found a nice little offshore, looked like an old rock wing dam. Both of which had fish on them. And so what I'm going to do is here in just a moment, I'm going to walk you through each of those 3 things. Use your graphs, finding offshore structure that nobody else is fishing. Number 2, not winning practice. And number 3, covering as much water as possible. And then we'll see you here at the end, say a couple things, and then I'll let you go for today. If you're fishing a lake, and I know we all do it, we all look at maps and try to find prime locations. Well, the truth of the matter is this: if you're looking at it on a map, so is everybody else. So I just want to show you something real quick that I think will help you catch more fish offshore. I'm going to pan this around so you can see it. That's a nothing bank. There is nothing on it. And let me just give you a little itty bitty tip here. If you will graph nothing banks and you find something that's different on that bank, you will find fish. That's what I've been out here doing the last few times I've been out here. I'm just looking banks that most people would ride by unless they spent the time actually out here graphing, idling up and down the bank. They would not know some of the structure that I found. I found road beds that aren't marked on a map, and I've caught fish. I found little wing dams that weren't marked on a map, and it's one of those things where if you'll spend the time, put the time in, you can really catch some fish out here. Of course, having a map helps, and I still study maps because I think it will put you in the right direction. You can usually find some banks that are flatter on a map. But as I said, nothing, and I mean this, and I know you've heard it time and time again, nothing equates to success more than simply spending time behind whatever graph you use, whether that's a Lowrance, a Humminbird. I'm particularly a Humminbird guy, a Garmin. Whatever you use. The key to success on lakes that are highly pressured is finding something that nobody else is fishing, fish that are not getting pressure. So that's my little tip. Idle these do nothing banks, these banks that absolutely have nothing on them, and try to find a tree, a stump, something that's different where those fish will be, and you'll probably catch more fish. You'll never win a tournament if you win practice. So I'm going to give you a couple tips that I think will make you more efficient and effective during a tournament. Here's the first one. number one, don't use hooks. I mean, I know that sounds cliche, but looky here. I'm out here, I'm offshore. I don't have a hook. As a matter of fact, I'm using just a screw lock. I've got it tied up there, and you know, basically what I can do is I can throw out there. If I get a few bites, I won't hook them. Don't set the hook. I know that one's hard, but that's another one. I'm fixing to do this here with my crankbait, so I'll just show you real quick what I do. You've got two options with a crankbait. As I said, I caught a nice smallmouth earlier, or I'm going to catch a nice smallmouth in this video, but you can either bend the hooks in, which is what a lot of people do, but for me, you know, particularly this crankbait right here, that's exactly what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to come right here. And I'm just going to bend these hooks in. Pretty much the only reason I'm doing this is because I've already got to replace them anyway. Shouldn't use stock hooks. I know that sounds cheesy, but don't. So that's all you're going to do. You're just going to bend your hooks in so those hooks won't grab. And so that's still going to allow you to, you know, to hook your reel, or hook your bait to your reel, just like that. And so those are two tips, especially offshore fishing. Use a screw lock, and then bend your hooks up, or bend your hooks in if you're fishing a crankbait. So I just marked a couple spots, and I'm just going to throw the crankbait around and see what happens. All right, guys, let me give you another major tip for practicing. And this is something that I'm not really all that great at, but covering water. You know, pick up a bait that you can really cover a lot of water with and just go. So I've got just about 20 more minutes or so. And so I've picked up a walking bait, and I am just getting it. Got trolling motor on high, foot on the pedal the whole time, just trying to cover this entire area. So far I've had one bite. You know, if I go through the rest of here and maybe get another bite, swirl, it may be worth coming back to and turn it. But if I don't have another bite, it may be that the fish in here maybe are a little bit deeper or something like that. So I'm going to continue to look. If I have some more boils, I'll let you know. And that's another tip, man, for pre-practice, practicing for a tournament. Cover as much water as you can. All right, guys. Well, I hope those 3 tips have helped you to be a more efficient angler out on the water. You know, that's something that I have really started doing, is I've started applying these 3 things. You know, the time of year can dictate a little bit what you do. For example, you know, when it's cold out, you cover water, but you cover it, you know, a little bit slower. You know, right now it's August, and so I'm able to, you know, put the trolling motor on high and really just gun down the bank. So anyway, man, I hope those 3 tips have helped you. If they have, would you do a couple things for me? Number 1, would you like the video? Number 2, would you comment maybe something that you would like to see here on the channel? And number 3, if you're not subscribed, why don't you hit that little bell, subscribe to the channel. That way you'll get notified when I put out awesome content like I have here today. Anyway, once again, thanks for tuning into the Bass and Pastor. I just appreciate everything you guys do. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you later out here on the water.